Good morning, Facebook. Good morning, Instagram. Good morning, YouTube. Let me get in front of the camera. It looks like everything is working in the sound, and here I am. Here I am. Good morning, everybody. I know probably you're going to work. You probably out of work already if you are an early person like I am, or if you are in Europe or in Asia, maybe you are already in the middle of the day. So I'm doing this like a power hour so I can bring the biggest amount of value to you. So today, owning versus renting, and this is because Kelly made a huge comment on one of my videos and she wanted to know the difference between owning and renting. Is this a good investment? So what I like to talk about right now is that most people try to look at when they're buying a house for themselves, meaning they're going to live in the property, they think it is a business. Buying a house where you're going to live in is not an investment. It could be a payoff in the future because depending on where you live, depending on the country, depending on political and economic conditions, it may be a benefit to you, but not necessarily because it's not an investment. And a lot of people, when they come to the closing table or negotiation with sellers or with builders, they want to, get the most out of it. I understand negotiation is power, but here's the deal. Builders build homes for profit. Flippers flip homes for a profit. So everybody's here, and if you're able to create a win-win situation, that's when we're talking business. But a lot of home buyers want to go and want to extract as much as they can, not understanding that buying a house that's what you're doing. You're buying a house where you're going to live in. Now, if you have an investment and if you have your own property, it could be the best example how to prepare for business, because you are going to end up paying the same items like interest rates. You're still paying yourself a little bit of portion of the mortgage payment. You have insurance, HOA. Excuse me. For those who don't know what HOA is, it's here in the United States. This is something called Homeowners Association, what it could be called in Colombia, for instance, the administration bill that you pay monthly or yearly. And it's pretty much when you live in a condominium, which comes from the Latin word condominium. You share a property right with others. Maybe you live in an apartment, you have people up on the top, you have people on the bottom, and then you have common areas to talk about for maintenance. So HOA, taxes, maintenance. So before we get into the difference between owning versus renting, neither one is better or worse. It depends of many circumstances. I'll give you an example. Back in the day when the housing market in the United States was going crazy, what happened was the prices of the properties were going super high. So the more people were buying homes because they thought it was an investment. This is right before the crash occurred in 2008. So what happened was people are thinking, I'm going to buy a house because I'm going to buy at this price and it's going to be this much. It's called unrealized capital gains. Now, back in the day in California, it was cheaper to rent a house than to pay a mortgage because a lot of people own these homes. There was no really demand for rents because everybody wanted to buy a house thinking that it was a business. So rents were lower than the mortgage. So I knew investors that were buying houses for the capital appreciation and they were living in homes while they were paying rent. So in this particular scenario, owning versus renting is going to be, what are you doing with this property? If you're living in the property, it's not an investment, so therefore you cannot do it, or you cannot use it as a vehicle for taxes, and deductions in taxes, for instance. That's one of the things. If you work from home, the government allows you to have a portion of your property, your square feet, your square meters, and say, I work from here, I'm going to deduct my phone bills, a portion of that where I live there, I'm going to deduct my electricity only for a portion, because homes are not considered businesses. So owning versus renting. If you live in a home, in a property where you can actually do many things with that property, you can create a business, you can sublet it to somebody else for a coffee place, for a studio, that is a different business model. But in this case, owning versus renting, owning, it's not an investment unless you make it a business model, unless you make it a pro forma with projections, and you say, look, Mr. Bank, Mr. Lender, Mr. Investor, this is an asset that is producing X amount of dollars as an income producing asset for rent, for whatever purpose that you're using for this property. Now, let's talk about interest rates, insurance. If you own the property, if you own an asset, protection is one of the key elements. Now, I'm talking. I have not checked if you guys are over here. Let me check that everything is working. Okay, it looks like everything is working because I got no comments on the sound. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Eduardo. Thank you for joining me this early in the morning. I know it's super early, and I just want to have like a 3, 4, 5-minute video talk where I bring awareness for a new topic to think about while you're driving to work. And I appreciate if you do me a favor. If the sound is working and if you think this video is kind of cool, could you write the word coffee, Colombian coffee? I appreciate the engagement for YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. It's recognized by the interaction that you and I have. So I appreciate if you share the video, like it. So I apologize for sounding like a broken record in here. Interest rates. Our interest is going up. I've been in this business for about 10, 11, 12 years, and they keep talking interest rates going up, and it's been between 4 to 6% for the last 8, 9 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is from my memory. Now, there's different kind of interest rates. If you're buying a house, you have a selective interest rate, which tends to be a little bit lower. If you're going to buy a property for an investment, if you go to hard money lenders, if you go to private lenders, maybe those interest rates may be higher because you're using the money for profit. Insurance, hey, let's face it, it's called inflation. Everything goes up. The inflation in the United States is about 2%, 2.3% if I'm not wrong. Not stating anything, I'm just saying what I can recall from my memory. So if you are buying property, you can say, well, how much is my property going to appreciate in value? You can look at the general market conditions and say, oh, properties are gaining value for about 2 to 3 to 4% on the yearly basis, and inflation is going up in the 1.9 to 2% on the yearly basis. Maybe you have a little bit of gap, and that gap could be your actual gains. Everything goes up, taxes. So what about taxes? If you are in the United States, if you are in another country, it's a little bit different. But here, if property taxes go up, there are ways to go for you go to your county, and there's called protesting your taxes. Well, there you go to the county, you argue the value of your property, because at the end of the day, a lot of people get confused between market value and appraised value. Appraised value is only for the purpose to pay more taxes to the government. If you're over here and you want to know your market value, you contact your real estate broker, your real estate person, realtors here in the United States, and you try to get the best value. Now, there are a lot of information online. There's Zillow, there's Trulia, there is metrocuadrado.com in Colombia, and there are more tons and tons around the world that can give you an estimate of what your property value could be, but it's very general. You have to always go back to the raw data and get the best value possible with a professional. Maintenance, you always have to account for any contingencies that may happen to your property, either if it's renting, or if you're buying it, or if you're buying it for a particular business model, Airbnb. You want to have tenants. You want to have tenants for an office space. All of these items go into an investment as they go as somebody who owns a property. So when you own a house and then you want to go into business, then these are not going to sound unfamiliar because you already know, because you've been paying interest, you've been paying insurance, you've been paying taxes, HOAs, maintenance. What about value? See, this is the question from Kelly. And Kelly, thank you so much for bringing all of this right here, because value is upon call what Bitcoin is going through right now, which is human behavior, driving things up and driving things down. One people think this is going to go up and goes all in. Another person thinks it's going to go down and cashes all out. And this is called speculation, which through speculation, supply and demand, Mr. Adam Smith with Invisible Hand says there are invisible forces called economic factors, supply and demand, that will create a communication between demand and sellers and buyers, and the price will go up and down. Now, in real estate, what I've noticed from all these years in real estate is most of the times what they happen is they will stay flat, prices will stay flat, but still they continue to go up because inflation, because GDP, economic conditions. So this is all I wanted to bring to you guys. If you believe that this short video has any kind of value to you, to your friends, to your loved ones, if you know anybody who is getting in business, who is getting in, starting his own company, or starting in real estate, do me a favor, tag them over here, write comments below. I can't wait to see all your feedback over here, and I will continue to bring to you more and more content value and an idea for you to think of the remaining of the day. Guys, have an amazing day. It's Wednesday. I'm out of here because I got a lot of work to do. So, and I haven't had any coffee yet, by the way. So thank you so much. Thank you, Kelly, for bringing this up. And if you have any specific topic that you want me to talk about it, let's get it done. Guys, have an amazing day, and I'm out of here. Thank you.